and welcome back to the YouTube channel for Catch. My name is Sam and I'm the founder and lead coach here at Catch. Unshakable confidence is the key to getting everything that you want in life and dating. So on this channel we talk about everything to do with confidence, mindset and how to utilise that in all areas of life, but with a particular focus on dating and relationships. And if you want to work with us in any way, all that information is in the description box below, including a competition giveaway that we're running at the moment, which is to start creating a movement around confidence, and it's free to enter with hundreds of pounds worth of prizes, so check that all out down below. So today's topic is something that I was really inspired to talk about, which is how I personally initiate with people that I'm interested in. And these principles and examples that I'm going to talk about are related to dating, but reflecting on it, these are also principles that I've personally used in every area of life. So going after job opportunities, trying to make new friends, taking on new hobbies. So hopefully by sharing these with you, it will give you some inspiration for things that you could do in your life, whatever the outcomes are that you are working towards. And I also want to say that on this channel, I'm usually very specific about not talking about men or women, because I think one of the issues with dating advice at the moment is that it makes a lot of generalizations about what men want and what women want, and talks about masculine energy and feminine energy. And I think that's becoming less and less relevant. It doesn't resonate with a lot of people, and everybody could do with being more confident, having more self-worth and believing in themselves more. And so we try and make content that's relevant for everybody and doesn't make any generalizations. So I want to say that I'm sharing my experience as someone who identifies as a woman and how I have approached men. Those are the examples that I'm going to be giving. And it's me sharing my personal experience. It doesn't mean that this is how I'm telling you that you need to be, or this is the only way, but this is something that differentiates me and my style and how I go about life, and one of the ways that confidence materializes for me. So if it resonates with you or is of interest to you, maybe it will be helpful to you as well. So first I'm going to talk about a few principles, or why do I approach things in this way, and then I'm going to give a few examples. So I've spent some time really thinking about what my values are, and we did do a video recently on how to build your confidence. And one of the things we talked about within that was understanding what your values are, what is important to you, and then living by those values. Because if you do that, you become independent of the approval and validation of others, because you're deciding what's important to you and you're living in that way. So you suddenly don't need the approval of anyone else. And so I'll link that video down below where we go into a bit more detail about how to identify your values and some examples. But some values of mine are being very honest and communicating well, because I think if you're honest and direct and communicate well, then you're honouring what's important to you, the other person knows where you're coming from, and you can build healthy dynamics and relationships, whether that's a work relationship, a friendship, or a romantic relationship. And I also try and just bring in as much fun and playfulness as I can into every area of life. And when I was younger, I used to take things quite seriously and take life quite seriously, and I try to do that as little as possible now. So some of my values are being honest, being direct, and just having as much fun as possible. And that's how I approach my dating life, with those principles, and I try and show up in that way as much as possible by not ghosting people or being honest about how I'm feeling, even if that is that I'm uncertain or having a wobble or something's making me feel insecure or something makes me feel really good. I try to over communicate all those things, but also try and just enjoy the process of dating and not get too hung up on where it's going or what's happening, etc., etc., which is always a work in progress, but something that I try to do. And also I'm very confident in myself and what I bring to the table and how I look physically. So I use that and what I'm confident in to my advantage in dating. So what are the things that I do if I want to initiate with someone? What are the principles that I use and the techniques that I use that then underpin the actions I take first? So we've already talked about the values that underpin how I operate. What are some things that I do even in the moment, just before I maybe approach someone or initiate or show some interest? Firstly, I tell myself that they already like me, and that even though they don't know me yet and haven't got to know me yet, they already like me and they will like me as soon as they get to speak to me, or they're already, seeing me around the room or got an impression of me that they like. And this is really important because if you can tell yourself that they already like you, then there's not really any risk of rejection. Or if they do reject you, then it's just something going on with them. And also it gives you so much more confidence going into that situation. So I tell myself that they already like me. I visualize it going well. So if I want to approach someone or initiate with somebody in some way, suggest a date, for example, I imagine them quite a few times responding to that positively, saying yes, and it going well. Again, that gives me more confidence going in, but also it's more likely to create that outcome because you're kind of expecting it. And generally what we expect and assume is going to happen in the end is what happens. I say what feels right in the moment, so I trust my intuition without overthinking it too much. So instead I just assume it's going to go well and they already like me, and then I think usually an idea pops into my head at that moment about what to do, right? Or the right thing just kind of appears to me. And I try and make it as fun, like flirty and playful as possible. So light and chatty and just having a bit of fun rather than it being like super serious, I'm taking this big step, because it takes the pressure off you and the other person, and then it's more likely to result in a good outcome or the outcome you want. And also I smile and make eye contact. So again, we did another video recently on what do confident people do and what are some of those external behaviours that embody confidence. And just smiling and being vulnerable enough to make eye contact and confident enough to make eye contact goes a long, long way. So if you're going to do something, just go all in and back yourself enough to make the eye contact. Okay, so now I'm going to share a few examples from my life about how this has materialised and where it got a positive outcome. And if any of the people in these stories ever see this, like, I hope you enjoy this, and sorry but not sorry to be sharing it. Okay, so the first one was, I was at a friend's birthday party and there was somebody in the extended group, there was maybe 20 or 30 of us, who I was interested in, and I had observed him interacting with other people, with his friends and just in our group, and thought, yeah, he's attractive, but I also liked how he held himself, how he carried himself, and the fact that he was just kind of having fun and like having fun with his friends. And I don't really know many people at this party, and usually I'm pretty good at talking to new people. I'm building a rapport and getting to know people, whether that's just friendship or not. And I'd spoken to most people at this party because it was kind of an all afternoon evening thing. And one by one I had spoken to different people, different couples, and got a conversation and a rapport going. And that's relatively easy for me to connect with people. It's something that I've worked on and enjoy doing now. And we had a bit of small talk, me and this person I was interested in, but I hadn't really felt lots of warmth back from them, even in a friendly way. I just hadn't really felt much. You know, they were being polite, making small talk, but not loads of reciprocation. I didn't really feel any interest. And I thought, okay, maybe he's got a partner, maybe he's not interested. But it was odd because, as I say, it didn't even feel like the kind of conversation you would make with a friend of a friend. It felt even colder than that, which threw me off a bit. But as I say, I assumed that he already liked me, he just didn't know it yet. and therefore there must be something weird going on with him. So anyway, the night continued, we were going to different places, and the group got a little bit smaller. And I remember at one point we were by the bar together ordering a drink, and again I said, oh, what are you going to get, etc., and didn't get much back. And I thought, what is this? Like, what is this? And that in itself, I think I said in a video a really long time ago that sometimes when you're confident and things don't go your way, it feels very confusing. And so that's what I was getting. I was getting this confusing feeling of like, what's going on here? Because even if, you know, he's in a relationship, you can have a polite conversation with someone. So we get back to the dance hall, we're stood next to each other, and I turn around and I go, look, can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah, sure. And I said, have I done something to piss you off? Like, what's going on here? Because I feel like I'm making effort to make conversation, and I'm getting on with everyone else at this party, and I'm getting absolutely nothing from you. And honestly, it was like a switch just flipped. Like, all of a sudden he was like, no, absolutely not. Like, I've been seeing how you hold yourself. I think you're a really nice person. I think you're really attractive. I actually just wasn't sure how to talk to you really, and you know, a lot of my friends are here, so I was just chatting more to them. And then the rest of the evening he was just chatting consistently to me, like making his interest really clear. He was like, I want to take you out this week, let's get a drink, let's get some food, etc. And then the next day he added me on social media, and we messaged and we went for a drink a few days later, and then sort of continued speaking from there. So that just shows that you can be in a situation where you're really not getting the kind of responses that you would expect or want, but that doesn't mean that that person isn't interested, and you can turn things around really quickly just by having a bit of fun or approaching the situation directly. And I remember speaking to him about that, and I said, oh, you kind of switched as soon as I said that. And he goes, yeah, you know, I need someone who's confident like that and who can put me in my place a little bit, because he's a very successful guy, equally very confident, very strong, goes after what he wants, and you know, that made him much more interested. So that's example number one. The second one is just a bit more playful, a bit more direct and flirty. And I remember once I was stood outside of a venue that had some like live music on, etc., and I was just chatting to my friends, and we were deciding whether to stay or whether to go somewhere else. Again, it was a friend's birthday, and I'd seen someone around inside who I thought was attractive, but they were in a mixed group, so I couldn't tell if he was with one of the other people who was in his group. Anyway, I saw him leaving, but he was just with his guy friends at that point. So I literally said, because he was about to leave, I went, oh, excuse me. And he made eye contact, and I just beckoned him over. I was like, come here. And then when he came over, I said, who are you? And then he straight away was like, I'm leaving now, but can I get your number? And then he messaged me instantly and was like, when are you free? Like, I want to see you. So as I say, it can just be something quick and simple and just like get to the point. And then the third example was, I was traveling in South America, and a friend and I had gone to this hostel, and they had karaoke on, and we got chatting to quite a few people in the bar through during the karaoke, and we met these two other English men, but they were living in South America at that time, or doing a much longer trip. And again, I got chatting to one of them, and he was wearing socks and sandals. So firstly, I called out the socks and sandals, and I was like, what the hell were you thinking when you got up and got dressed this morning? Which kind of got the conversation going. And I wasn't initially interested, so it was just a fun way to kind of, in England, well, and most of the UK and Ireland, if how we show affection is taking the piss out of each other and mocking one another in a playful way. So it was just a way to sort of open up the conversation. Anyway, I get chatting to him. Turns out we have loads in common. We love all the same music, and I have quite a niche music taste. I basically just like hip hop and rap, and most recently especially female rap. So anyway, we were talking about that. We knew loads of the same artists, were really into some of the same artists, and just were getting on well. But throughout the evening we would get separated, speak to our individual friends, and then at one point during the evening one of the other men in the group started showing an interest in me, but I was interested in this other chap that I'd spoken to earlier on in the evening. So again, I remember going back to the other chap and I said, look, your friend is showing an interest, but I fancy you. And at that point he actually ran away, I think, or like went to speak to some other friends, and I was like, oh, did I just get pied? So me and my friend went to the bathroom and I thought, again, that's weird. I can't believe I just got pied. I thought we were getting on really well. Anyway, we come back and he speaks to my friend, and basically what had happened was he and someone else in the hostel had shared a kiss previously, and he didn't want to be disrespectful to her, but he said that he was really interested in me. So again, we ended up spending more time together that night, swapped numbers, we saw each other again whilst travelling, and then we're in touch for a year or 18 months after that. But you know, we live in different countries, so you know, nothing really progressed from there, but we built a really solid friendship, and it's a good friendship, and are there for each other, which is so lovely. So it just shows that if you put yourself out there, and especially as a woman, and even if it doesn't look like they're that interested in you initially, you can definitely create that interest. And if you're the sort of person, or the sort of woman especially, that likes to be chased or men to initiate and lead, you can let them do that after that initial showing of interest, if you like. But if you don't take those chances, then that person could disappear and you could never see them again. And I see quite a lot of comments on social media about, oh, if a man was really interested, he would initiate. And in my experience, and I work with a lot of men and speak to a lot of men about this, men are becoming increasingly aware, especially since Me Too, about approaching women in public, coming across as a creep. They don't want to be rejected, that's difficult. And you know, it's difficult to put yourself, it can be difficult to put yourself out there for anybody. So if you feel confident enough in yourself to do it, and you're interested in someone, why not? And then you can always communicate to that person, look, I like for the man to lead, I like for the man to pursue me, etc. But how much worse would you feel if there was someone who you had a genuine interest in and nothing ever progressed because you didn't want to take that chance? So be fearless, give it a go, have fun with it, don't be too attached to the outcome, and even if it feels like you're being rejected, just take it as a learning experience and part of the journey. You never know how that can change. I'm actually going to do another video on how to respond to rejection and some examples of where I personally, or people in my circle, people that I've coached, have turned things around after an initial rejection because they responded with confidence. So don't be deterred, even if you feel like you're going to get rejected, or are rejected, or feel like you are. And just do what feels natural to you, which for me, as I say, is something very direct, being honest, having fun with it. But maybe for you, it's just making eyes across the room, or flirting, or telling friends that you're interested and letting them pass the message on. You know, but push yourself, have a bit of fun, and see how you get on. I would love to hear down below if this resonated with you, any examples of where maybe you've shown interest, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. I would love to hear from the men and women below what you think about women initiating, maybe some of your fears, or if you like that or not. And if you have any other questions or comments, pop those down below, and look forward to speaking to you. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.